It is the inaugural conference between the 20th Indigenous Inspector General of Police and senior police officers in Abuja. The new police boss used the meeting to announce some major reforms aimed at repositioning the force.
The operation of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, which is currently centralized at the force headquarters, is hereby decentralized. Consequently, with immediate effect, the commissioners of police in each of the 36 police commands and the Federal Capital Territory are to assume full command and control authority on all Special Anti-Robbery Squad in their commands.
He also has stern words for commissioners of police and politicians on the forthcoming general elections.
Let me reiterate that while the police in all commands will secure law-abiding political actors, party faithfuls, and citizens in the course of the elections, nobody should be in doubt as to the capacity and renewed determination of the police to deal decisively with elements that attempt to test our will by engaging in political violence or other electoral offenses, including vote buying, which could threaten our democratic values.
The Inspector General of Police later welcomes the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, who visited the police headquarters to solicit the cooperation of the force on the forthcoming elections.
Our responsibility is to safeguard the processes such that what Nigerians vote for is what determines who wins the election. Simple. So there is need for us to work very closely at all levels. Needless to say that INEC is responsible for the conduct of elections. The police is responsible for protection of the process.
The strategic planning meeting, which continued behind closed doors, is aimed at evaluating the performance of the force in previous electoral engagements, with a view to addressing challenges observed in addition to analyzing.
Well, we've got two gentlemen to weigh in on what transpired yesterday. Mr. Dennis Omakre, former Assistant Director with the SSS, and Olatubosun Abalariwa, a security consultant. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on this morning.
Good morning.
How much of a game changer? Is this a game changer at all, this move by the IGP?
Well, when we look at it from the perspective of the SARS move, I would want to call it a game changer. But I don't want us to rush into conclusion that that is the case until we see the full implementation of what the IGP
The big question again about implementation. Are you equally as maybe somewhat pessimistic?
Well, I think it's a step towards decentralizing the police. But, yeah, but, you know, like the SARS are now responsible to the Commissioner of Police in the state, you know. But I think this piecemeal changes is what is causing the problem. We'll need a holistic change whereby, you know, we'll know that, yes, this is the direction that is going.
Why do you say we have to wait until you see it being implemented?
The reason for that is that in the last 5 years, the policing institution, NPF in particular, has gone through what I can call a constitutional attack. Due attention has not been given to the institution, and the quality of Inspector General of Police and senior police officers who are implementing policies have really affected the quality the people are getting. And that is why we are having problem with SARS. We're not supposed to have problem with SARS. Where SARS are supposed to be a problem solver. But unfortunately, we realize that they came in with a lot of problem. Even problem for the police institution themselves. So I support the decentralization. I support the move to give the Commissioner of Police in each state, including the Federal Capital Territory, the power to control SARS. They are the ones that have the problem. Okay. They should know what to do about it.
We'll come back to this in just a moment. Stay with us.
There's a new crop of people you are yet to meet. People who have made it a single passion
Welcome back. Now, this IGP's move, I know you say the quality of the IGPs that have been implementing this. You act as though we had a choice. It's what the system throws up, the next in line. Isn't that who and how they are always picked?
It has not been a uniform pick. I think that is how it's supposed to be. But if you look at the selection of the last 5, 6 IGP, sometimes they pick the IGP from the DIGs. So that's why people like Arase became the IG. But sometimes they go down to the level of AIG. That's why the current IGP was picked. But shortly during the time of MD Abubakar, you will realize that even people from the position of CP were picked to become his GIP. So his DIGs. So people got elevated from the position of CP to become DIG. So there has not been uniformity in that, and nobody has really queried that process. But every police officer can do a police job. I know a CSP that can do a better job than a DIG. So if he is elevated to DIG, as long as people are going to get the dividend of good security to their lives and property, I think we're good to go.
Should we be how optimistic should we be about this matter? We know that when IGP is coming, they issue one perhaps policy or key statement or the other to reorganize the force and try and let people know we need to pull in a different direction. Is this any different, or he really means this and we should see it implemented?
Well, it's not different. Just like my colleague here said, every IGP that comes in wants to, give his own direction of what's supposed to happen in the force. But at the same time, sometimes these announcements are made and then after 2, 3, 6 months, they are watered down and then the direction changes. But I think with this particular one, I think he's kind of under some kind of pressure or some kind of expectation from the public, especially considering the time that he came in. Many people are looking at it and seeing whether, number one, whether it's going to be biased, because that was
what about the political class? They're also watching him.
Of course, everybody, even the press people, the first question, if you remember, the first question they asked him, whether it's going to be biased, and then he has to defend himself on being professional. So he has a lot of challenges towards him, and I think it behoves on him to do the right thing and then bring up the force.
So what would be the right thing? Now, both of you seem to express cautious optimism, if I can use that. What are your concerns?
Well, the basic issues are the issues of policing in Nigeria. And we've had a situation where the public itself have been complaining about the police. There's a rise in kidnapping, there's a rise in home invasions, all kinds of internal security problems are existing. And these are, the police is supposed to be the arrowhead in internal security.
Having heard from both of you,
I'd like to also hear.
Okay, we have 2 ways of using police in Nigeria. We use it to uphold government policy, whether it is good and bad.
Really?
And we also use it to buttress the security of lives and properties. Unfortunately, until the last IGP that has just been removed, he shifted to the side of helping the government. And I'm sure the current IGP that has been selected is aware of that the institution, he made a comment that he is going to do everything within his power to reposition the institution. So I want to believe that he is aware that there is a problem on ground. I appreciate 2 things that he has done so far. The decentralization of FSARS. I believe the former IGP too decentralized it, but I believe the decentralization was not implemented. So I want to pray and hope that the decentralization directive issued under the current IGP is going to be sustained. I also want to appreciate the fact that they look for somebody who has done a good job in the policing image by bringing back the current force PRO. I want to believe that they went back and checked its antecedent and they realized that there is problem with imaging. And I strongly want to believe that the recall of Frank Mba to that office is going to make a lot of difference.
Is it because
in
of
the
those
area.
who they skipped before appointing this IG, this acting IG?
No. It's not really about skipping. It's about people who will get to the position and use decorum. In the
I'm talking about the imaging perspective, which you spoke about.
Yes. Talking about the imaging perspective, it's not about really skipping people. It is about looking at the police not as human being, but as an institution that has something to do with the public.
Exactly the next level of question. There seems to be a systemic concern for many people as far as the police is concerned. What is the systemic problem or issue or challenge that needs to be confronted, and how quickly do you see that being tackled?
One of the systemic problems that I believe is facing the police currently is the issue of who takes care of the police.
I was almost going to ask you, they stop you on the road to work this morning.
Who is in control of the police? I think in the last 2 years, the police has been on autopilot. I don't think the Minister for Police, I don't think the Minister for Police Affairs or the Minister for Interior is being given the type of power it needs. In the UK, the Home Office controls the police.
So having an IGP is not enough? Having an IGP is not enough?
It's not enough. Somebody needs to represent the police. You see, we're talking about the office of the IGP, but somebody needs to plead the case of the IGP before, of the Nigerian police and IGP before the Federal Executive Council.
What about the DIGs?
The DIGs.
No,
they cannot jump over. No, they can't do that. We're talking about the Federal Executive Council, where policies will be made, where requests will be made, where interventions need to be made on behalf of the police. You see, the police can have 5 problems on their hands this week, but by next week, Federal Executive Council, we could hear that some people are beheading people
in all of this,
and there is need for intervention.
I'm wondering in all of this, let me just go back a step or two. What does this decentralization of SARS? We've talked about the impact, or maybe you're waiting for the implementation phase, but what does it mean to the citizens of this country? How will they view this? Do they see any change?
It is very, very simple. The SARS we are trying to decentralize now can come from Abuja, from the IGP office, IGP SARS, Federal SARS, and everything. And they will move from Abuja to Lagos to carry out an operation of which the CP Lagos is not aware of. And I've heard of a situation whereby a CP called to stop an operation that is happening within this jurisdiction, and the SARS officer, who is an inspector or sergeant, replied back that he takes his order from the IGP. Exactly. You see, that is the rot in the system that needs to be stopped, corrected. It does not really need to be stopped. It has to be full stop. How can I be a CP of a state and an operation is going on over the people that I'm charged to protect, and I will not be in the know about it?
That's the first part of it. The second part of that is to the people who have complained consistently about the operation of these men to them. How does it solve it?
Okay, it will solve that because now that it has been announced that they've been decentralized. Today, there was a new SARS office. They now have a division like every other division. So almost in every local, along the Iju Road now, there is Red House Police Station at one end. There is Penn Cinema Police Station at the other end. Then there is Federal SARS Police Station right in between. That needs to be shut down with immediate effect. They can't have that. Federal SARS, let them come under the... If I have my way, Federal SARS should even come under the DPO.
There's no more...
You understand? There's no more Federal SARS. Let every officer that will be dealing, as a result of this directive, but let them go to division and remain under the DPO.
Why do you think that this is the first of some of the first steps towards decentralization of the police force?
Well,
or restructuring. I think that's what you used.
Yes, we've always talked about restructuring the police, decentralizing the police, because the unitary system in the police had not been working very well. That was the system that was the British bequeathed to us, and that system is unitary in the sense that everybody takes his order from the IGP, and what we need is a decentralized police where states will have their own police because they have different things to take care of. There are state laws to be taken care of. Even local governments should be able to, you know, have their own sheriffs to take care of local government edicts. You know, so when we look at that situation where, like he was mentioning, an inspector is carrying out a certain operation, and then of course he takes his orders from Abuja, it does not make any sense. Now, when you decentralize, it brings policing close to, you know, the people.
Does it make the commissioners of police now stronger?
Well, I don't know whether we have to call it stronger, but it will make him more responsible, you know.
To the people?
Yeah,
to the
people.
IGP?
Yeah, to the people. In fact, in the United States, if you want to be commissioner of police, you have to run an election, you know. So you represent the people. You are not representing an authority where you take orders, whether it is good or bad for that particular community, you know. So they even have neighborhood watches that are, you know, responsible to those people that the police. You have university police.
Because I'm concerned. I've had cases where students, they walk up to me and say, before this decentralization, they've been harassed time and again by SARS. SARS are patrolling the roads. They're just about everywhere, every corner that you turn to. And will this new approach by the new IGP, will it stop in any facet, in any respect? Will it make the students feel a little safer, especially those who carry their laptops in their bags and trying to get to campus?
Yes, that we deal with in a very, very simple way. In order to put the Nigerian police force where they're supposed to be, it is the work of two people. That is the police and the masses. And whether it is working or not, which I believe is working to a certain extent, there's something called Complaint Response Unit, which is available on every social media platform. Get to know about it. CRU, Complaint Response Unit. Download it and have all the number. They have a Twitter account, they have Facebook, they have Instagram, they have emails. If any police officer take your communication devices, it's almost as good as stealing it from you. In fact, you can write a petition, one-page petition against the officer who obtained a laptop from you and refused to give it back to you, or who choose to search the content of your laptop. They've said it repeatedly that they don't have the right to do that.
We still see...
No, I'm not ruling out the fact that it's not happening. I'm just ruling out the fact that if it happens to you and you are a victim, do the right thing by contacting the CRU. They will give you a reference number. Do the right thing by getting your lawyer to write a petition against that officer. If you
provided you have not been arrested.
You identify him.
Provided you have not been arrested.
Provided if you are arrested, it's better. Because that means that you are in the crime diary by the CRU.
Yes.
So it's by the CRO. So if you are arrested, you have been documented.
You are assuming here that the fellow who has been arrested has been released.
So
you and I know that
the fellow who has been arrested, anybody that is arrested is booked. There is documentation about them. So that is easy to trace.
Are you saying then that everybody, all the people who have been picked up, and we talked about it a few days ago, and rounded off at Agege Pen Cinema, are you saying all of them have been booked and are in the police system?
I wouldn't
That's
want
exactly...
I wouldn't want to accept.
You
see,
that happens.
That is where we are trying to give the power to the people now. I try to educate people what the police process is. You see, when you get into a police station, you are looking at the counter in front of you. You are not supposed to go to the counter without first being recorded with the CRO. Your CRO is always the person sitting on one desk by your left-hand side when you enter the police station. He has a diary, crime diary. If you are entering a police station and you have not been logged in that diary, if you die in the police cell, no, you are not accounted for. So know your right. When they are taking you into the police station, stop by the CRO and let them document.
Talking about right. Police
officer is not under the influence.
Exactly.
Yes. Now, talking about rights, I'm trying to view this new decentralization and what it means to the people. I'm very concerned about that. And how the commissioners of police, what role they will now assume, especially as we get to the elections. The fears have been that if we have to go through a process where SARS still exists by any guise, where federal SARS has been disbanded, is now SARS at this state level, controlled by the commissioners of police. The fear is that they still have the capacity to do what they want to do, especially 2019 elections.
Okay, I believe my colleague will buttress that on that again because it's on the inside. But let me just give you an answer. Let me give you an answer to that. I noticed that strategically, when it's getting closer to election, there is a rejig, repositioning and transfer and redeployment of many commissioner of police.
Is this part of it?
I believe that doing that is really going to limit the influence the commissioner of police have over the SARS or I think that is why they are doing that. But how they do it on the inside and how they arrive at whatever decision they are making in that area, I believe my colleague will be able to share.
In build up to that, before you respond, let's take a look at this because it has to do with the Electoral Act. And INEC has spoken about this several times, how they were quick to remind us of what the Electoral Act says about deploying police or security agencies for elections. So that's section 29(1), where it was talking about notwithstanding the provisions of any other law and for purposes of securing the vote, the Commission shall be responsible for requesting for the deployment or of relevant security personnel necessary for elections or registration of voters and shall assign them in the manner determined by the Commission in consultation with the relevant security agencies. How is this going to change anything during the elections?
Well, the thing is that I think it's a synergy between like the police, the state security service, and INEC, whereby they synergize in the means of SSS giving them some kind of information about hotspots, because right now I know they are supposed to map the whole country and know the hotspots and the dangerous areas that exist in our country, especially the ungoverned spaces. You know, so with this, what they are going to do there is to synergize with INEC, because INEC is going to tell them, we want to go to one local government and, you know, there is some kind of apprehension about what is going on there. We don't know what is going on there. And then the security agencies will give them the necessary intelligence about that area and how to assess it.
What about the school of thought that security agencies, in most cases or some cases, have played perhaps not a pleasant role in determining who wins elections? They've always accused SARS or FSARS of something. So is this going to change anything, this reorganization?
Well, I think we have to give them some kind of credit. You know, I will call those people bad apples, whereby, you know, some people are attached to governors. And then governors will go on election day, moving around with some group of policemen with them, who go to polling stations, and then sometimes you see them disrupting the voting process.
But if you are bad apples, that presupposes that it's on their own volition. But this is not. They're usually in cahoots with some politicians.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But what is going to happen this time is that with the new IGP, and then in collusion with the security agencies and INEC, they are going to make sure that those areas are well secured for ordinary voters to come and vote.
So does that mean that the capacity or the tendency for either SARS or used to be sometimes FSARS to perpetrate those ills this time will no longer be there?
I don't think it should be. I don't think it should be. Because I don't think it should be. Because, you know, one thing is to give out an operational order on what is going to happen. And then another one is for people on the field to
which is what he says about implementation.
In a different way, yeah.
Would anybody want to try and disobey this order?
This order has been disobeyed before. That is why we.
No, I mean with this particular
acting IGP. This acting IGP.
Yeah.
Well, like I said to you, I don't want to be in a hurry to give him a pass mark, based on the fact that the order was given before 2 months ago, and I don't know why we are repeating the order again. It means it was not carried out. So based on that, I want to believe that the new IGP is going to put up a stronger implementation machinery in place to ensure that whatever order he gives is carried out to the letter.
We'll be watching. So, Mr. Acting IGP, we're looking to see if your men will obey this one this time around. As the gentlemen have said, Olatibo Soma, security consultant, and Dennis Amakre, former assistant director with the SSS. Thank you both for coming on.
Thank you very much for having us.
All right, so we're back in a moment. We're going to look at your response. Don't go away. Welcome back. Let's take a look at some emails coming through from you. We've got the first one from Femi Oke, who writes in from London. He's talking about the appeal prosecution of judges. As you see there, he says, appeal court decisions are not final precedents, as it is the Supreme Court that sets final precedents. So the law is still subject to interpretation. A law is a joke if judiciary can make laws. Okay, don't quite get that last part.
Well,
but,
the judiciary can't make laws. I think that's what he's talking about. The second one is from Emmanuel in Benin, and he says, still on the CGN conundrum, there's a Supreme Court decision related to this issue, Ahmed versus Ahmed, where the current CGN was a member of the panel. The position of the Supreme Court is that you don't go elsewhere and only have the CCB and the CCT involved.
Okay, this one is quite lengthy, and it's coming from Brendan in London. And he says, I'll just try to make it as short as possible. I thank you all for educating and informing the people through your coverage of the case. Having followed the case since the news broke, I think the generality of the people, including lawyers and laymen, seem to agree that if there is any infractions by the CJN, then he should face the charges. What seems to cause a sharp disagreement is where the process or what the correct procedures should be. It is distasteful that political parties are making it look like a different issue. That's just the first paragraph. He adds about 5 other paragraphs. Let me just skip to the last one. If the federal government follows the correct procedures in all cases, there will be no need to heat the polity, because everyone will see that there is respect for rule of law and due process. That's coming in from Brendan in London.
So there you go. That's how where we end the show today. You keep those mails coming through. We'll take as much as we can. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm Chamberlain. So
I'm Gimba Umar.
And I'm Ayo Makide. Have a lovely day.
The views and opinions expressed by guests on this program are those of the maker and do not reflect the views, opinions, and endorsement of Channels Television.